I think that you can get away with literally climbing basically off these two, honestly up to like Emerald if you do these really, really well.
It's not a free gank. You're sacrificing something. You're sacrificing golden XP.
Okay, so to pause right there, what he's saying is exactly correct. However, what is up everyone? Coach Leo here, 4 times world's competitor and challenger jungler. And today I'm ranking jungle fundamentals. So initially I wanted to do a tier list, regular tier list maker, but I came across a coaching session where Agurin was coaching a gold 4 player. Now, I have a lot of respect for Agurin. Obviously, it's safe to say that he is a much better jungler than me. However, sometimes rank 1 players such as Agurin can be a little bit out of touch when it comes to what's actually important for a noob. And by a noob, I'm saying, players like under diamond. And this is something that I initially struggled with as a coach as well, which is just verbalizing these concepts that kind of come to us, like second nature. So now that I've coached hundreds and hundreds of players, and after receiving their feedback on what is kind of super valuable, I now feel like I can share that knowledge with you all in the form of this fundamentals tier list. And if you are interested in working with me one-on-one or in group coaching, check the links in the description below. Without further ado, let's get into it. Alrighty guys, jumping into the coaching and the VOD review now. So, I had a really good time watching this video, not only because it was interesting to kind of see what a very, very high level jungler like Agurin can actually teach a gold 4 player. Because what happens a lot of time is that when you spend so much time at the very top of, the mountain, it can be very, very hard to try and articulate and verbalize very basic things for Agurin, to verbalize these things. So I found that very, very interesting. And so, essentially the 10 things and the 10 fundamentals that we're going to be kind of ranking. And the reason why we're ranking of which ones are important is for exactly that, about, what is a rank 1 player? What is he teaching to a gold 4 player? That from my experience, having coached so many players now, is actually really, really important. And so hopefully you guys can learn as well. What should you be really kind of focusing on first? I already kind of am spoiling you guys here about the tiers, but we're gonna be watching some moments from this review, and we're gonna be talking about them. And so the very first thing we're gonna get straight into is the game plan. How important is a game plan, guys? So I've ranked this as a B tier fundamental. Now, the higher MMR you get, the more important it becomes. But at the same time, you have people like Natty Nat, Agurin. Sometimes they're just like full clearing to bot 80% of the time. So if you are basically like, below Emerald, I would say it's always safe to just kind of full clear to bot, have a simple win condition like stacking dragons. But let's take a look at what Agurin says in his very first clip about game plans.
Okay, so what made you path what this game?
Because of Fresh, and he can hook opponent.
Okay, so you have setup, okay, and top lane?
I don't like playing sub because of Zillion sub. I was thinking it's troll.
Okay, okay. I mean, it's not really troll, but he's for sure like not gonna have prio, and he's probably not gonna be useful for you until level 6. Okay, good.
Okay, so I really like how Agurin did not spend too much time here. So I really like how he's just like, yo, what was your thought process? Oh, you wanted to path the bot, you have a Thresh, you have a Zillion, cool. So whenever you're thinking about where you want to path, the simple thing I just say nowadays is path to where the volatility is, path to where you think you can get a kill, or just default path to bot. So moving on to the next one now, Gank Execution. All right, I've rated this S tier. And that is because League of Legends is a fighting game. That is because you can have all of these other things, right? You can have this and this and this and this. If you cannot execute, and this is obviously Gank Execution or just fighting in general, then all of the other things do not matter. It's a 50-50 thing. You need 50% of macro and 50% of execution. Now, obviously, in some different champions, maybe the execution matters less, or maybe the macro matters more. But just in general, League is a fighting game. So let's take a look at how we look at the bot gank here that this gold 4 play goes to, and what Agurin says about it.
So this is good. Okay, you misplayed a little bit, I think. Do you see why?
No.
You shouldn't start with W.
Okay.
You just walk up, she will jump, and then you should W after.
Okay.
This way is more distance, but okay, you get the one.
Okay, so this is perfect. Basically, exactly what Agurin says is correct, right? The way that he says it, though, can sometimes not be obvious to a lower ranked player. So the way I like to describe this a little bit further in terms of like, when you're looking for ganks, right? You need to have some kind of like priority list in your mind, okay? So the kind of golden rule is you don't really want to use your CC or your mobility ability if you can just walk up and auto attack them. So like basically number one priority is cutting them off and maybe using your like Viego E here, right? So this is to all champions, by the way. It doesn't matter what you play here. If I'm playing Jarvan here, I'm always going to walk up and press W and hold my EQ. If I'm playing Zinzao, I'm always going to try and walk up and hold my E. So it's a priority, right? So you want to use E and auto attack as number 1. Then you want to use like W as number 2, right? Then as number 3, maybe if you had ult here, right, you would use R. And then as number 4 priority, you use your flash, right? So you got to think about the priority of your abilities. You only want to use abilities when you have to. I think, yeah, Agurin said what he should do, but I think an explanation is needed a little bit more. Moving on now to tempo, which is how I like to kind of structure it, which is camps up versus camps down time. And this is an S tier fundamental. I think that you can get away with literally climbing basically off these two. If you can do these two, you can get away with climbing honestly up to like Emerald if you do these really, really well. And that is exactly why they're both S tier. So let's firstly watch the clip and then I'll kind of explain my thought process on camps up versus camps down kind of mindset.
Okay, you take the crab and you should... Ah, okay. Yeah, this is your first mistake.
Why?
You see it? Okay. So, do you have a timer for this gank? Let's say a free timer?
No,
Why not?
because my camps are spawned in subside.
Exactly. So if you based after the crab right now, so 8 seconds to base, 12 seconds to reach the golems, it's kind of still perfect to base. Like, this is perfect, you can start clearing again. If you do another gank, now you're gonna be too late for this. So this is when you do a gank, it's not a free gank, you're sacrificing something. You're sacrificing golden XP.
Okay, so to pause right there, Agurin, of course, what he's saying is exactly correct. However, the problem when, someone that, again, is a very, very high level like Agurin says, otherwise you're going to be late. So the way that I like to explain this fundamental and why when you have camps up, meaning your camps are about to spawn, right? Keeping good tempo is doing this. And this is like the default play you should go for. But the problem when we set such rules, such as you're going to be late for this, so you don't have a spare. So what he's basically talking about is if you have a spare time, right? So like, for example, the bot gank was a spare time play, right? He had nothing else to do. That's when you can be a little bit more lenient with your tempo. But when your camps are up, you no longer have a spare kind of time. You don't have spare time. Anything that you do has to be a kill. And I think that could have been kind of verbalized a little bit better here, that the first question is, do you think you can kill Vel'Koz? That's the real thing here. The real thing is, you can only choose one, and if you choose to kill Vel'Koz, you need to see this play as like 90% chance. And why I'm saying that you need to still, practice going for, like, I'm against putting hard rules. I have a lot of like different ways I explain things, but you need to try and kill Vel'Koz here to know that you can't kill Vel'Koz, and then to know that you should have recalled back and gone for the Krugs. Because if you don't know, you'll never try. And I've coached a lot of players that stick to tempo. They're really, really, they're waiting for their Krugs and they're not actually utilizing their time, or they're not actually paying attention to opportunities. So yeah, pretty good still, what Agurin is saying. All right, so the next fundamental is going to be objectives. Okay, so in this next clip, we have Viego has just full cleared down again. And we also know that the Warwick is clearing to the top side. And so objectives for me is a B tier fundamental. Now, I'm not saying that, again, the higher rank that you get kind of become more important than you understand how to play around objectives. The problem with objectives is there is a lot of nuance. There is a lot of reliance on your team. But there are some things that are good to know. In this clip actually explains a lot of them. So let's quickly watch what happens.
Has 2 camps standing still, not being farmed, while all of your camps are down. So who's winning right now? If you just AFK and he's AFK, you're both AFK in river.
Oh, then I'm winning because he's losing camps now.
Exactly, right? Like, he's not farming, and until when should you dance like this? Until when?
No, I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
Okay, right now you have nothing to do, right?
Yeah.
Except the rank. But like, when do you have something to do again?
When my camps are up.
Aha. So until when should you start dancing?
When my camps are about to respawn.
Okay, which one? Exactly.
Red buff.
Aha, that's wrong.
Why?
So I'm going to just cut the clip early here and kind of summarize what they're talking about. Agurin is basically talking about this idea of the spare tempo time, right? The camps up versus camps down, right? So when you have camps down, you have spare time. Once that spare time runs out, which is usually the Krug spawn right here in a minute, that is when you no longer have free time. Basically, what Viego is doing right now is using his spare time to start the Drake because Warwick could be topside. I could go into more Dragon fundamentals about, the fact that, he actually pink wards the Drake, and if the enemy jungle is pathing towards topside and the enemy jungle doesn't know you're on Drake, it's unlikely that he will come and check it, which is also why it's really important to like buy a pink and buy a sweeper. This guy actually, this Viego, this student getting coach actually has pretty good fundamentals. Yeah, so this is also why I think objectives, you don't need to, be completely all-knowing. Again, it's nuance. It relies on your team a little bit. And he also talks about how, starting the Drake is actually safe as long as you do correctly, such as pulling the Drake out and, walking towards the bot side. So a lot more of nuanced things that Drake is, and this is just what you're going to learn from experience. This is what you're going to learn from watching people. As I said, B tier fundamental. All right, so the next fundamental is information gathering. So we just took the Drake. All right, this is just after taking the Drake, and Viego is now entering the enemy's red side and potentially looking for a mid gank. So let's take a look.
Mid gank good.
I don't know. I can't see H because of your camera. No, because my camp is up, but I think I still went for it.
All right, I'm going to pause right here because I think this is really, really important still to what we were talking about before. So before, when Vel'Koz had flash up and he had camps up, it is the better play to recall and go to our topside camps. In this case, you're about to hear Agurin say, well, actually, you should go for this gank, even though you have camps up top, because the Vel'Koz now, this is a 90% chance, high percent play, because Vel'Koz has no flash, because Viego has ult, because things are making, because he's low health, because he's pushed up, things are making this play high percentage. So this is exactly where you have to be careful coaching players to follow set rules. Okay, you must always recall when your Krugs are spawning. But what about the learning process of knowing that this play is actually good because he has no flash, right? That's the real thing, which I think that Agurin does here really well. I actually really like as well how Agurin's actually just asking him questions, trying to really get to the core of his thought process. I think that's something that Agurin did really, really well in this coaching session.
Okay, now, is this gonna be a kill?
Not 100%. If
Why
I play
not?
good, then yes.
Okay, do you know he has no flash?
No, I can't remember. I don't think I did.
Okay, if you know that he has no flash, this is 100% kill, right? Because you can just ult on him. Like, you have to dodge his...
So what is the fundamental here, right? What are we actually getting back to? The fundamental here is information gathering, okay? So this is what we're talking about here. Knowing what you're going to do after doing something. So for example, after Viego does Dragon, information gathering is having your camera on mid and knowing that, okay, I'm going to do option A, which is kill mid, or option B, which is recall and go here. This has everything to do with how you gather information. And the earlier that you gather the information, the better your decision-making is going to be because you're going to have more time to think. Is mid gankable? Is mid high percentage? Does he have flash? Like all of these things that, the equation of mid being high percentage or not, this is what it all comes down to. So information gathering is an A tier fundamental. I do think that it's not S tier because, especially for lower elos, because again, I think you can climb just with these two, but this is very, very close. This is like the level up. This is like the difference between plat players and emerald players and diamond players. Like information gathering now comes in. This is when your camera pans, your minimap prompts, your overall just paying attention to the minimap, your planning ahead of time becomes very, very important. So information gathering is an A tier fundamental. So next one, very, very interesting coming up, which is the camp cycling and the clear efficiency. So this is actually where I would have my biggest disagreement with this coaching session. He doesn't actually spend that much time on it, which is good. So let's just firstly watch the clip and I'll explain why this is a C tier fundamental, and we'll talk more about it.
So why we're doing this red buff?
Yeah, to be efficient.
Is it though?
I think so.
Okay, what did we say about the buffs and the small camps? Which ones are more efficient to take?
The small camps.
Okay, so which one is better to do first?
The small camp.
Okay, now there's something I do. You don't have to do that, but this is like optimized efficiency. Is in this case where I know all of my cams will be already up, like my small cams, I just skip the buffs because they are half as worth. And the thing is, after all of your small cams, there's gonna be something to do because there's grubs up. There's like his camps will all be spawning because he's wasting right now tempo. So right now it would be perfect for you to do all small camps, maybe do the blue, and then look for something else.
Okay, so what we're talking about here is basically obviously just camp efficiency, right? It's about cycling your small camps together because ultimately it is more efficient. The problem with even just using time on this is that other things are way more important. Will this harm his gameplay? Probably not. But in terms of if you face it against other things, right? For a gold player, this has very, very low. The main thing when you think about camp efficiency and clearing efficiency is obviously you need to clear as fast as you can, right? I think that's the main thing. If you're under, honestly, like master tier, I think the only thing that matters in terms of your clearing is clearing fast, because it's not going to be the difference between winning or losing. Is it irrelevant? No. Is it useless information? No. Would I spend a lot of time on it in a coaching session? Probably not, right? I would just be like, if you want, you can be hyper efficient here and just do small camps. And obviously Agurin, yeah, he's known for, clearing optimization and stuff like that. So now we're going to move on to objectives, which is the grubs, right? He's just cleared his top side after this clip, and now we are playing for the grubs. And I'm actually going to rate this this next fundamental, the objectives in camps uptime, C tier. So we'll firstly watch the clip, and I'll discuss the thought process behind this ranking and what I think about the clip.
Deciding to play grubs. Okay. Now, is that good?
No,
Why not?
because I have bot side up.
Okay. I mean, the thing is, you will see a lot of junglers do this, by the way. Even challenge junglers, they will do this because they value grabs a lot. And it's okay. I don't do this and I don't teach this because it's not very safe. It's not a system that you can repeat on cooldown, because after this, your camps will be desynced. You're losing your flow of farm.
All right, so I'm going to pause it there because I think this is an interesting talking point. That yes, a lot of junglers do this. A lot of junglers think, oh, it's time to take the objectives, right? What he's basically saying here is not safe. It's not consistent, which is perfect, which is exactly correct. I think that, so the reason why I've rated this as C fundamental is because you can just farm. I think, in about like 20 seconds, he says, it's never wrong to just full clear or just to farm, right? If you don't know what to do, it is not wrong to just farm. When it comes to objectives, there is so much nuance. There is so much reliance on maybe your top just dies, right? And you decide to start the grubs here, and then the enemy top, like it's so reliant on your team also playing well. Same thing, when you have camps to do, if it's a kill, if it's a play, if it's invade, no matter what you do, you need to be thinking about it, it's high percentage. So if I have my whole bot set up, this grubs needs to be high percentage. Okay, what makes it high percentage? I have a really big advantage. Maybe their top laner is dead. Maybe their top laner is 1 HP. Maybe I have an item over Warwick. Maybe I have, a lot of people will go off priority. I think priority is it's a small advantage. It doesn't mean that you get the objective because priority only matters or only exists for one wave. It just gives you move. It gives you a better fight. Yeah, but you basically want to be saying, I'm going to start these grubs. If you guys fight us here, we're going to kill you. So it's a lose-lose. You fight us, you lose. If you don't fight us, you lose the grubs. All these nuances makes this a C tier fundamental. And in saying this as well, right, I just talked before about you need to try and fail. You need to go and fight these grubs and fail, but you need some kind of framework. Again, the framework is very important here, because when players try these grubs here and they die or whatever happens, what you conclude from that is very important to say, oh, my conclusion to this is we didn't have a big enough advantage. They had numbers. Your team's just, your Orianna just solo dying mid, and then Vel'Koz moves in with, the Warwick and things like that. Okay, so this is why this is a C tier fundamental. Not as important as everything else, of course. Again, the higher rank you get, the more you will start to figure this one out. Okay, so the next clip is actually right after the student makes the decision to actually leave the grubs. Okay, and this is just a simple situation where this is just about your mindset. Okay, so no matter what you do, just be decisive. Okay, so if you decide to go for the grubs because you've evaluated that, yeah, this is an advantage. We have an advantage here. We're gonna win this. Whatever you do, just be decisive, because the most important thing is that if you think you can do something, do it. Go for the mid gank on Vel'Koz, fail, and then realize why did it fail, and that is exactly what improving is. Once again, as long as you have the framework and you're not just failing, and you're not learning anything from it, once you have the framework, oh, why was I not decisive here? I should just do the grubs. Okay, why did I do the grubs? Because Aurelia is stronger than, why did it fail? Because Aurelia is stronger than Zilean, because blah, 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 whatever it may be. Okay, so no matter what you do, just be decisive here. I just want to quickly play the clip. Just a very quick clip.
And now let's look at top lane.
I think we can win because Fresh is coming.
Correct. This is actually true. I mean, you're stronger than Warwick, not 1v1, but you're stronger than Warwick. You don't have ultimate. This is what you have to keep in mind. But in general, you should be winning this if Fresh is coming, yeah. So why don't you start it then?
So no.
And instead you run away. So the thing is, at this point, like when you decide to go for it, you should be going for it.
And again, this has everything to do with being decisive and not wasting time, right? When you decide to go for it after Raptors, of course the game can update, right? Things can update, right? So you might decide to go for, so I'm not saying be decisive as in, I'm going to take this objective no matter what. If you decide to go for grubs here and your top laner gets solo killed, of course you must adapt, right? You have to adapt. You have to be like, okay, this is no longer, I'm going to decisively base now. I'm going to decisively just cross mid and, look for a new play. But when you decide to do something, I like to call it, doing donuts or just running in circles. Like, just do it. Base, gank, whatever it may be that you decided to do, just do it and learn. Try and fail, succeed, whatever may happen. As long as it's your decision, you can improve and learn from it. So yeah, and then later in the clip, he says that full clearing is never wrong, which is, perfect. Now, the next clip, which is jungle tracking, okay? So as you can see, just from this coaching session, guys, like all of these things, which I like to call learning objectives, are literally present in like 90% of your games, okay? And, obviously this is not every single fundamental that's in the game. These are actually the main ones, to be honest, all in this one game. So jungle tracking, okay? And what I like to call camp mirroring. So a great way to track the enemy jungle is by mirroring your camps to their camps, okay? So, before we watch the clip, this is a B tier fundamental. It is important. It is good to have. It's not as important as your tempo. It is just an extra. It's also part of, it's also a part of your information gathering, right? Like the idea of jungle tracking is part of information gathering. So let's quickly watch the clip.
All right. So now you see Warwick starting this, and now you have some options. Do you know which one? Which one?
I think I went to check his jungle. I thought that was going to be the correct play. Check if he's got any camps up in his jungle.
Okay, so the thing is, you knew he started bot side, right? So when you do your red, he did his red, right?
So that's basically it, right? You can camp mirror by saying 1-1, 2-2, 3-3, 4-4, right? And so if you know he's doing this and you know you're doing this, you know that his bot side is down because your top side is down. Now, if you don't know what he's doing because he's running around like a crazy, Warwick, that's fine. Checking here is fine if you don't know. But in this situation, knowing is important because you just don't want to waste time checking these camps when you could potentially be matching him or trading, which is going to be the next fundamental we talk about. So let's quickly see what else they say in this.
Okay, so technically the camps shouldn't be up. If he skipped something, okay, then there could be something up. But that's not something you should be doing. This is like not an option. Do you have your item at this point? I think you do, right?
I think so. I can't remember.
Invading is incorrect. He did.
Yeah, so basically, which is the very last fundamental, which is the same clip, which is match, trade, and minimize. This is your decision making, right? So as Agurin was about to say, right, you're going to have options. You're going to have option A. You're going to have option B. And you're going to have option C. And maybe even going to have option D, right? You're going to have all these options of what to do at a point like this, where the enemy jungler is making a play. So I think the way that Agurin says this is, again, good. I think, again, I like to provide a framework to this, which is what I like to call match, trade, and minimize. So matching is always, you're matching the enemy, and you always want to match when you're stronger. Trading is doing a play on the opposite side, which is doing this. And minimizing is just kind of like, it's just like minimizing their play. It's kind of like just farming your camps or just like picking up the mid wave or something like that, right? So trading is taking his camps or ganking bot. You're trading the grubs for a bot gank. Minimizing is taking your camps here because there's nothing else to do or taking like the mid wave. And matching is, going and fighting the Warwick. Let's just play this clip really quickly. And this fundamental is A tier, okay? Like decision making is A tier because especially when you get to high ranks again, but this is still really relevant below Emerald. You making the correct decision here because League is like kind of like a move-based game, right? Like Warwick makes a move, you got to think about your move, okay? So let's quickly watch the clip.
What about this?
Could work now.
Why?
Because the lane's pushing towards us.
And so this would be trading.
Exactly. Yeah. This can be something that, as you said, could work. For this, you would have to like know this is not worth it, and when you show that they will be gankable, this is one option. Okay. What's another option?
Gank mid.
Okay. If you know he has no flash.
So that would be the minimize. The trading is bot. The minimize is mid. The matching is Warwick.
Is this good?
Yes, so I'm denying him plate.
And just quickly, right? In order of priority, you always want to match if you're stronger. You always want to trade if possible. And you always, and you want to minimize when the other two things are not options, right? So if ganking bot is not an option, I mean, I guess ganking mid is also like kind of similar to trading. But yeah, you always want to choose matching as number 1, trading as number 2, minimizing as number 3, which is like you have no options. You also have to think about matching in a sense of if you're already on the opposite side of the map, trying to match if Warwick is going to finish the camp before you get there is also something that you have to kind of calculate.
Okay, the question is though, can you kill him?
No, I can't kill him.
Why not?
I haven't got my item.
And I like, so do you win 1v1?
Maybe if I dodge his skill shot.
Is it a 1v1?
It would be because Oriana's too low.
Exactly. So ganking mid, is that a good option?
No.
Okay, what happens if you gank mid?
Then I might just chunk him down a little bit and then he just lives
Why does he live? Where does he go?
towards Warwick.
Aha, what does Warwick do?
Uses his R on me.
Okay, so do you think there is a world where you can just force Warwick off of the grabs? So the thing is, you win the 1v1 against.
Essentially, we're saying minimizing, you can't exactly match Warwick on the grubs. This is the framework to make decisions on. And so, yeah, that's where we're going to wrap up the video, guys. This was really interesting to watch for me, the coaching session, and how someone like Agurin would coach a Gold 4 player. I think, again, just adding a framework to things is really important. It's also really important not to set hard rules for a developing player. Again, these are the fundamentals that you want to really hone in on. For example, get these ones really, really good first. Obviously, it all kind of matters. The ceiling of jungle, very, very high. Yeah, so if you're able to learn something from this video, leave a comment down below, leave a like, consider dropping a sub, and I'll see you guys all in the next vids. Peace.